Thank you for joining us, Kasokri Joseph, Shaddai Adote, Mani Mani, Anthony. Good morning to you, Ahedo. Thank you for joining us as well. And we're grateful. Make sure you share the stream and let us have a good conversation. But it is the Valentine fever that has caught on with us. We're going to have a great insight into what you should expect on Valentine's Day right here on the show, because we're having a great package coming up for couples who have enjoyed their bliss, their relationship, marital relationship or union for a while, and we're going to give you all those giveaways and the venue that you have to join us on the 14th of February. It's a Wednesday, and we're going to have 5 lucky couples have some great enjoyment right here on the show. Money Ni Money, Pearl, thank you also. Clenham, Erica Kwashi, thank you for joining us as well. New Boy Jefferson, thank you for joining us. Imelda Nassar, many of you. Oseb Boateng joining us from Kumasi. Rafael Osebunso alongside your wife, Portia, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us as well. We're grateful. Now, we have to tell you about the Maha Beach Resort Valentine's Day Flash Sale, which is going from the 9th till the 18th of February. It is bookable from the 29th of January, has been on. And so throughout this period to the 7th of February, you can enjoy by staying for one night and get the second one for free. Or it is also for 2 or a person, or in a standard room, just going for a price of 2,699 Ghana cedis. And as part of this package, you get to enjoy a dreamy room setup, gifts for the couple as well, a romantic dinner on arrival with free mocktail, also includes breakfast, lunch, dinner on the second day, breakfast on the last day, a romantic movie night at the in-house cinema with popcorn and other flashy drinks all available. It goes with a 15% discount on the spa, free airport pickups from Friday to Sunday, and as always, all terms and conditions apply. So make sure you call Maha Beach Resort for reservations and more information on the package, upgrade and terms, conditions. You can contact them on the following line: 050-1570-684-0303. 977-773, and make sure that you get the latest when it comes to the Maha Beach update. And Don Lois. Now, today we have 2 important topics to discuss, because in 2 days' time, it's specifically going to be on a Wednesday. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, apart from being the vice president, we all know that he's also the presidential candidate-elect for the New Patriotic Party. He is going to have a whole lecture. Okay, it's been coming. It's been a while since he had those lectures. And so this lecture is going to, according to what I've seen by way of the invite and also what has been posted across social media, it is to outline his bold vision for transforming Ghana's economy. So we want to have a preview of that. Look at, since he became vice president, all the utterances he's made, what we should be expecting on Wednesday at the UPSA auditorium. And then on the second part, we'll also take a look at the emissions levy. And it looks like the threats that has been coming from organized labor about government not going ahead with the VAT on electricity, compelling, we're told, cabinet, according to the grapevine, it's even on the front page of the Daily Guide as well, dropping that, what they call killer ECG VAT. So the government introduced a killer ECG VAT, and the government is going to withdraw or not go ahead with its implementation, the killer ECG VAT. So please make sure you join us this morning, and then let us have all the conversations going. Now, we'll introduce our guest. Speaking for Government on Governance and Security, we have the spokesperson. He's a regular on the show, Palgrave Boachi Dankwa. Good morning to you, Palgrave. How are you?
Good morning, Roland. I'm very well, thank you.
And then Eduji Tamaklo is the Director for the Legal Directorate of the NDC. Thank you for joining us. Also, we know he's a legal practitioner. Now, we'll preface the discussion with some insights from organized labor on that 15% VAT on electricity. And then we'll come back. Well, is government withdrawing this or not?
Organized labor says government has demonstrated a lack of trust and disrespect towards them.
The people of Ghana have been disrespected. We are a subset of the Ghanaian society. And looking at the economic situation that is afflicting all of us, all of us. And government itself accedes to the fact that we are in an economic quagmire. So in this situation, is this the situation where you continuously dump taxes on your people?
Are not privy to this information. What I can tell you is that come on the 13th of February, we are going ahead with our demonstrations. But that is a nationwide strike. We have not had any information on this meeting. That is, we are only seeing it in social media, but nobody has contacted us. So our position is the same. It has not changed. Our main demand is that the letter should be withdrawn. Once the letter is withdrawn, then we'll call off our demonstration. But once the letter has not been withdrawn, I'm afraid it's going ahead full. And I can assure you, it will be the mother of all strikes in Ghana. We are going to bring this country into a standstill. You know, politicians cannot no longer take us for a ride. We want to let them know that we are major stakeholders when it comes to this economy. We are not in a jungle. If you want to introduce something, come and let's dialogue. You cannot just get up and then introduce this VAT 50% on electricity without dialogue being with us. And this affects everything that we do. It affects every expenses.
Well, that's Closak, and then we had a rep as part of organized neighbor from Nagrat, Angel Kabuno as well. And it looks like the pressure has got into government, Palgrave. Is that it? What's the mood and the corridors of power, the presidency?
Roland, a very good morning to you. And
morning.
A very good morning to your listeners and viewers, and to my constituents, the good people of Achimibwakwa North constituency, and to the new candidate of the new patriotic party, Chief Buffalo. Congratulations to him. Roland, I am certain, really, that the organized labor's pressure has definitely gotten government's attention. And as I've always stated, the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as a loving president and a very caring president, had a cabinet meeting on Friday and had to withdraw the 15% on ECG that we had put across. So the overarching goal is to ensure that we find other means to be able to raise our revenue and to be able to meet our revenue measures in country. And so we would ask organized labor, which is a very formidable group in this country, to exercise restraint. I'm not sure their demonstration would come through, as their letter proposed that all workers are to be in red band from today till next week, when the demonstration happens on Tuesday 13th. I think that government's position now is to ensure that the country remains peaceful, the country remains safe, and I'm very certain that with the new position that we have in terms of the withdrawal of the 15% on electricity would be good news this morning to organized labor. We have engaged organized labor consistently on other revenue measures that needs to be put in place, and I'm very certain that as a very caring government, managing the atmospheres of the economy and seeing to it that the temperatures and pressures are calm, the president in his wisdom has asked that this 15% levy on electricity be withdrawn. And so that's the position of government.
On the front
now.
page of the Daily Guide, it says government drops 15% killer ECG VAT. If the government knew that it was a killer VAT, why did they first introduce it?
I mean, Roland, I think that these are just descriptions from journalists and in terms of the word killer. It was a policy directive, which was also approved by Parliament, if you recall. Parliament had approved this policy directive of government. And having seen that government works in sync with organized labor and the entire citizenry, which would impact all of us because everyone pays electricity on a regular basis. And so if government is withdrawing something that has been passed from the legislative arm of government, then it's important that organized labor appreciates the efforts that government has put in place, because obviously government will now need to look at other measures within which to cut down revenue and also raise more revenue in terms of expenditure. We cut down expenditure and raise more revenue to meet up with our budget. And so we would ask organized labor to pull down their guns and pull down their red berets and get back to work and assist in the growing of the Ghanaian economy.
Well, it looks like organized labor is powerful after all, but there's a merit, right? Because apart from organized labor, there seems to be a clarion call, even by ordinary commuters across the country, that it's not only the electricity for which it has attracted VAT, but also even the emissions levy, because organized labor has even added, and Buta has also added its clarion call, that it is going to join this. So it's almost like you've dropped one, you need to drop the other. Eduje.
Okay, so good morning and good morning to your cherished viewers. TV3, you are doing extremely well.
Thank you.
Much earlier, we were saying you are now Ghana's CNN, you know. But that said, you see, H.E. John Dramani Mahama had given an indication that it does not make sense that Akufo-Addo, the man who led Kubi Prekum against the imposition of VAT, has not only raised the VAT rates, but gone further to impose VAT on electricity consumption. Now, consistent with the dishonest character of this Bawumia Akufo-Addo administration, immediately organized labor said they were going to protest. Government assigns and hype men decided to go on this third retreat by saying that, oh, they are going to drop it. Organized labor, I want to put before you today that this government is so dishonest that the only reason why they want to drop this 15% ECG VAT is simply because of the election ahead.
How so?
And that should you make the mistake of voting them in power, they will go back for this 15% ECG VAT.
How did you get to that conclusion?
Yes, I'll tell you. This is a government who said in the midst of COVID-19 that they were giving us free water, free electricity. Immediately they got elected in 2020, they imposed COVID levy on us. And now told us, and I listened to Minister for Information, sometimes I don't know whether it's misinformation, my learned friend Kojo, on one of your sister programs say that at the time Ghanaians were enjoying the free water and free electricity, who were they thinking will pay up the bill? And so if government today is imposing COVID-19 levy on Ghanaians to offset the free water, free electricity, this is what it is. And so Ghanaians must have at the back of their mind that the only reason why this government today is having to withdraw this VAT is simply because of 2024 election. Listen, the VAT, the VAT on ECG consumption is something that went to cabinet.
Yes.
At cabinet, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia was there. It's important to make the point that two MPP national executive members are members of cabinet, the national chairman and the general secretary. They were there. Collectively with Mr. Akufo-Addo, they took a decision that because of the IMF program, they were going to impose not 1%, not 2%, not 10%, but 15%. Cumulatively, it adds up to 21% on your electricity consumption. This is beyond the over, and remember that from September last 2 years to now, cumulatively, this government had increased tariffs by 72%. Cumulatively. So that's aside. So even when they are taking this 15% off, there is 72% tariff adjustment already existing. So this government is not doing Ghanaians any favor. The record must be set. But you see, Roland, like I pointed out, MPP MPs on 22nd December 2023 approved of this VAT imposition. In fact, I recall the minority leader, the Honorable Dr. Kesel Atoforsen, led his minority group to oppose this imposition, resulting in a head count in Parliament. the NPP majority won after the head count. And so this is something that right from the beginning, the NDC minority gave the indication that it was going to, bring additional burden onto the Ghanaian. But you see, I've always maintained, look at the spirited attempt to take away Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia from this tax imposition, when the man is the chairman of the economic management team. No tax is imposed in this country without the input of the EMT, chaired by no other person but Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the presidential candidate of the NPP. In fact, Akufo-Addo had clarious, on many occasions, given us an indication that he had been using the mind of Bawumia to manage this economy. The NDC, we make the point that there was no reason for this imposition. Do you know why? Look, no government had gotten more tax revenue than the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. They had gotten more taxes from Ghana. In fact, in 7 years, do you know that this government had gotten 411 billion Ghana.
Well, the argument is that number of projects.
I'll deal with the so-called claim of projects. You see, if you had gotten 411 billion Ghana cedis from tax revenue alone, I've not added grants, loans, Eurobonds. If you add all of them together, this government is making in excess of 800 billion Ghana cedis. With all this money available to you, you have declared bankruptcy. You're unable to service your debts. That is the record of this administration. And Roland, it will interest you to note that the bulk of this money is a product of wastage and mismanagement.
How can you come to that conclusion? We have a number of welfare policies for which ordinary Ghanaians are enjoying.
Pervasive corruption. Do you know that after the IMF, made a condition precedent for the IMF engagement, the government must audit COVID funds? The audit that was done by Akufo-Addo's own appointed auditor general, not Dominic. He found out that 500 million Ghana cedis of taxpayers' money was spent outside the GIFME system. Why in God's name do you think?
You are referring to the special
audits.
Audits, okay.
Why in God's name do you think that government of Ghana, led by Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will spend 500 million Ghana cedis outside GIFME to, as it were, the GIFME system is to ensure transparency and the ability to trace. So they decided that they will spend these 500 million Ghana cedis, obviously for campaign purposes. And that is why the NPP...
You can't do this.
Hold on. The NPP...
This is not appropriate.
The NPP regional treasurer, Northern Region...
It says it's inappropriate.
It's not appropriate.
You are making assumptions that are not true.
So what you do is that you ask me for my evidence. I am saying,
no evidence to that. Okay, give us your evidence.
You spend 500 million outside GIFME. The GIFME system is to ensure accountability, transparency, and tracing. Why would you spend outside it? Because you don't want to be accountable. You don't want to be prudent. You don't want to be transparent. You want to hide the money. And I'm saying, and I want to submit, that the NPP Northern Regional Treasurer, in the person of Madame Felicia Tete, who happened to be the NPP parliamentary candidate for Sagnarigu constituency, is on record to have said that she, as a parliamentary candidate, became a beneficiary of almost 200,000 Ghana cedis. Regional executives, constituency executives were giving COVID-19 funds like toffee, granite. They were sharing it. How can you account for monies given to a parliamentary candidate? So the point I am making is that our problem is not lack of revenue. It is the pervasive corruption, the wastes, and the fact that this government has been extremely reckless. And the person who has been, or together with Mr. Akufo-Addo, had brought this, system to where it is today is no other person but Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And so this record is what the NPP cannot run away from.